But Nick, in our movement along in this show here, I do want to pause and come back to what you just said, because I think that's a very interesting topic that I don't think has been talked about enough, but I feel like is going to start being talked about more if it continues to happen. And that is Craig Counsell leaving Shota in despite being, I think he was at 97 pitches when he finished the 7th inning. That, to me, I agree with you in the moment. Watching him come back out, I think Cubs fans are super excited within the ballpark. And in addition to that, Juice brought up a great point when we were sitting there talking about it. He said, Profar is a switch hitter, but is typically better from the left side of the plate. So by keeping Shota in there for at least that first, for those first 2 batters, I think the idea was, hey, let him try to get 2 quick outs and let Profar have to hit from the right side, because I think Profar's hitting like 330 already this season. I mean, he's had an unbelievable start to the year. Make him hit from his less dominant side, essentially, and say, okay, then pull him and then go to the bullpen. I think, though, mulling it over now for just under 24 hours here, to me, that just shows that Counsell has very little trust in this bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
That's 100%. What that tells me. Because, and I get part of it, you hear Counsell talk about it, and he's always like, well, it depends who we have available that day, right? And that's absolutely part of the equation, right? Some days you're going to have your better guys available more than others. But you have to look at that Monday night game. He had to throw 4 guys out of the bullpen. Now, granted, none of them were the super high leverage guys, right? It wasn't a Hector Neris. It wasn't a Mark Leiter Jr., but you had those guys, right? Mark Leiter Jr. was supposed to be this wizard against lefties because of his splitter, and he had almost the opposite splits for being a right-handed thrower. To me, it just shows that beyond guys like Leiter, beyond guys like Neris, and maybe beyond guys like, I don't even know who else you could argue. Almonte probably, and maybe now Ben Brown, even though we really haven't seen Brown a ton out of the bullpen just yet.
Out of the bullpen, yeah.
To me, that's the only guys that Craig can really trust right now. And and again, Shota's a workhorse, right? Like, that's the type of guy that if you're going to do that with, he's the guy you're going to do it with. But I think that's something that we as Cubs fans need to keep a little bit of an eye on is especially as these pitchers get closer to that, because he's been willing to pull guys with 80-something pitches. When the guys get closer to that 100, if they're left in, that's when I think we're going to really have to start raising some red flags and be like, hey, Craig does not trust, 60% of this bullpen, 65% of this bullpen, because he's leaving starters in to the point where they're seeing the rotation or the lineup for a 4th time, not just a 3rd time through.
100%. And statistically, as you know, that's very hard for a pitcher to go a 4th time through the lineup and not give up contact. And obviously Shota is a little bit of a anomaly in that case, because he is he's a magician out there. He's amazing. So in that moment, I didn't hate it, but I did say out loud verbally to my grandpa at the table, I said, it's because he doesn't trust the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I felt it in that moment, but at the same time, when he came out before giving up that home run, I was psyched. I'm like, yeah, Shota. So fan, manager, it's, two different things.
100%. It was, it was another electric start from him.